What they do is a kind of genius. I think that not a lot of people can do what they do.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Film Flavor with your boy, MC Lars. This is a series where I review the classic movies you weren't expecting reviews about. Will I keep going forever? Will I inexplicably stop after 6 episodes like Hatchet Chad? Who's to know? But this is episode 1. This week we're going to talk about the Jerky Boys movie, one of my personal favorites. It was released on February 3rd, 1995, directed by James Melkonian. And this was the second movie after a movie he did called The Stoned Age. It was also his last movie. The budget for this movie was $8 million. The box office was $7.6 million. It was produced and released by Caravan Pictures, which was a subsidiary of Disney. So that's right. The Jerky Boys movie is technically a Disney movie. It stars Johnny Brennan and Kamal Ahmed, the Jerky Boys, of course, and it has amazing cameos by Ozzy Osbourne. It also stars Alan Arkin in his best film role to date. So this is some more information about the Jerky Boys movie.
Caravan Pictures presents the movie the phone company doesn't want you to see. Hey, Jerky!
This movie has become somewhat of a punchline for jokes about how pop culture phenomena of the 90s could not be replicated now. Considering how this is the decade that brought us the unorthodox comedy of everyone from Tom Green to Carrot Top, we all overlooked the fact that the Jerky Boys were, quote, jerks for harassing people, or that their skits were politically incorrect. This type of comedy duo could not exist and have the same success in 2019, let alone platinum albums or Grammy nominations. But the Jerky Boys did. The Jerky Boys albums were some of my favorites when I was first discovering underground music in middle school. I remember waiting for years for the third one to come out. I mean, literally years. How long could making an album of prank calls have taken, I wondered? What was this? Chinese democracy? I remember calling record stores to ask when the new album was coming out, learning about other prank call records that were being marketed in that era, including the Masacha tapes, an album from a dude who was originally the third Jerky Boy, and the Tube Bar tapes, through Detonator Records, which was affiliated with the Jerky's label Atlantic. Both were far more raunchy and far less funny. Though the quality and quantity of the Jerky Boys recorded material has been sporadic and less funny in the last quarter century, attributed probably in part to Kamal leaving the group in 2000, Johnny Brennan continued to release Jerky Boys material solo and do interviews. After their split, Kamal's career as a director flourished, and his solo prank call record still stands up. The skits on it, not so much. A few years ago, Johnny Brennan briefly had a Jerky Boys themed podcast while making his fortune doing reinterpretations of famous Jerky Boys characters for Family Guy. Back to the movie. Like Tom Green's Freddy Got Fingered, the Jerky Boys movie was a vehicle to take Johnny and Kamal from their success as recording artists to bona fide movie stars. The film was universally panned, mostly because the critics felt that the spontaneity of the improvised prank calls on the group's albums didn't translate well when scripted.
Look, Jerky, I don't need to talk to you.
Hardcore fans, however, loved the references to the characters from the calls. Sparky the Clown, anybody? And while the plot is very one-dimensional, the Jerky Boys prank call the Mafia gets upset, and hijinks ensue, I put this movie on whenever I'm feeling down. I've bought it on VHS, Laserdisc, and finally on iTunes so I can watch it on any of my Apple TV devices. The soundtrack is dope, the cameos are awesome, Ozzy, Tom Jones' helmet, and the nostalgia factor is real. It's one of those movies that shouldn't exist, but does, and I love cinema of this nature. The fact that it bombed only makes me want to defend it more and create videos when I should be doing other things that are more productive. For any fan of mid-90s alt comedy, this movie is a gem. It's a manifestation of the zeitgeist, a time before streaming and YouTube decentered mainstream content creators like the Jerky Boys. When Kamal and Johnny B were getting along and enjoying their craft, they were unstoppable and their output was timeless. This movie was the beginning of the end for the Jerky Boys. Give it a chance. Nothing like this will ever exist again. Sizzle chest. Thanks for watching my review. More coming your way. Oh, I also make music. I don't know if you knew that, but check me out on Patreon, Spotify, all that stuff. I'm MC Lars, and be sure to check out the Jerky Boys movie, 1995. Cinematic Classics.